What if I told you that the most calculated man in the history of professional sport, a bloke with 6 NBA rings and an ego the size of bloody Texas, has been quietly drafting a contract with our Kiwi legend behind closed doors? Look, let's be real here. MichaelJordan didn't buy a NASCAR team to finish 12th in the standings with Bubba Wallace. He bought it to dominate. And right now, sitting in a Trackhouse Chevrolet is the single most disruptive talent NASCAR has seen in 20 years, Shane Van Gisbergen. Trackhouse signed SVG to a multi-year extension back in August 2025. Sounds airtight, doesn't it? Fair dinkum, unbreakable. But here's what the big American networks aren't telling you, and what's got the entire Charlotte paddock whispering: there's a 2027 clause, a Toyota engine program, and a phone call from Air Jordan himself that could blow this whole sport wide open. Strap in, because what you're about to hear, nobody on Fox or NBC has the guts to say out loud. Let's start with the uncomfortable truth across the ditch. Trackhouse Racing in 2026 is not the team it was 2 years ago. Daniel Suarez, gone. Now driving for a different operation, and the bad blood with Ross Chastain spilled out into a full-on shoving match at Las Vegas Motor Speedway in March. Chastain himself admitted he regretted how he handled it, but the damage is done. The Trackhouse family image Justin Marks built? Cracked. And here's the kicker that mainstream media keeps brushing under the rug. Trackhouse's oval program has gone backwards. Their Chevrolet engineering along with Hendrick gets them the Chevy power, but their development data, they're getting hand-me-downs. Believe it or not, the gap between a Hendrick chassis setup sheet and a Trackhouse one at a 1.5-mile track is reportedly worth 2 to 3/10 a lap. That's not a small margin, mates. That's the difference between leading the Coca-Cola 600 and finishing 18th. Now look at SVG's 2026 season. The bloke is an absolute cracker on road courses. He won Watkins Glen in May, his 7th career cup win, but on the ovals, he's still scratching. And he knows it. He said it in interviews. He wants to win Daytona, and he wants Talladega. He wants to be a complete NASCAR driver, not just the road course ringer from New Zealand. So ask yourself this: if you were SVG sitting in a team where your teammates are at each other's throats, where the equipment gap on ovals is widening, and a 5-time NBA champion with a Toyota-powered super team is calling your phone, what would you do? Because what happens next is where the conspiracy gets juicy. Here is what the big networks aren't telling you about 23XY Racing right now. In December 2025, after 9 days of federal antitrust trial, NASCAR settled with 23X1 and Front Row Motorsports. The teams got their charters back, permanent ones. MichaelJordan didn't just win a lawsuit, he rewrote the economic structure of the entire sport. Now think about that. The man took on Jim France, the most powerful family in American motorsport, and he walked away with permanent charters. Permanent. That means the number 23, the number 45, and now the number 55. Corey Haim's full-time ride confirmed for 2027 are locked in forever. That's not a race team, that's an empire. And here's the bit that should make every SVG fan in Auckland and Brisbane sit bolt upright. 23XY Racing's technical alliance with Joe Gibbs Racing is the strongest manufacturer pipeline in NASCAR. Toyota Racing Development, TRD, pumps engineering data, simulator time, and bespoke chassis setups between JGR's 4 cars and 23XY's 3. That's 7 cars of shared data. Trackhouse, they get 3 cars of Chevy data filtered through Hendrick's priorities. Tyler Reddick is currently leading the 2026 Cup standings. Leading, that's not luck. That's the Toyota Triangle working at full noise. Now, before we get to the actual phone call rumor, because yes, there is one, let me say this directly to you watching right now. If you're sick of NASCAR on Fox treating Shane Van Gisbergen like a novelty act, if you're tired of the American media pretending our Kiwi legend hasn't won more road course races in a season than half their Hall of Famers managed in a career, then hit that subscribe button. NASCAR Nation Decoded is built for the real ones, The Aussies, the Kiwis, the fans who actually understand what SVG is doing on those bloody ovals. We don't do mainstream bias here. Now back to the heist. Here's the rumor that's been ripping through the Charlotte paddock since the off-season, and the one Justin Marks absolutely will not address. According to multiple paddock sources, SVG's multi-year extension with Trackhouse signed in August 2025 contains a performance escalator clause, a mechanism that allows either party to revisit terms if specific oval track performance benchmarks aren't met. If SVG doesn't crack a top 10 average finish on intermediate ovals by the end of 2026, that contract gets a lot more flexible. And right now, his intermediate average is sitting in the low 20s. Now, here's where it gets spicy. MichaelJordan's 23 HEIST announced Corey Heim for 2027 in May this year. 3 charters, 3 drivers locked in: Bubba Wallace, Tyler Reddick, Corey Heim. Sounds full, right? Wrong. Denny Hamlin has openly stated on his own podcast, Actions Detrimental, that 23XY is always evaluating expansion to a 4th car, and under the new charter system Jordan just won in court, expansion is now commercially viable in a way it wasn't 12 months ago. A 4th 23X1 Toyota, driven by the most marketable road course racer on the planet, funded by Jordan Brand, backed by TRD, that, mates, is not a fantasy. That's a business plan. And the bridge to the next part, the Australian connection that nobody is talking about. Believe it or not, this is where the dots connect. Shane van Gisbergen is a 3-time Bathurst 1000 winner. He drove for 888 Race Engineering, the most successful supercars team in history. And what manufacturer is 888 aligned with in supercars right now? Not Chevrolet anymore in the way they were. The Australian Supercars Championship has a deep, ongoing relationship with both Ford and GM, but Toyota Australia has been making serious noise about entering supercars by 2028. A Toyota-backed SVG in NASCAR with marketing pull across Australia and New Zealand gives TRD a global ambassador. It gives Jordan Brand a foothold in the Southern Hemisphere, and it gives MichaelJordan exactly what he's craved since day one: a championship driver with international box office. Trackhouse and Chevrolet, they've got Ross Chastain's Watermelon Man brand, brilliant in America, means absolutely nothing in Hamilton or Hobart. Toyota knows this, Jordan knows this, and if you don't think TRD has already run the numbers on what an SVG-fronted global campaign is worth, in merchandise, streaming, and supercars to NASCAR pipeline revenue, mate, you haven't been paying attention. So the question becomes, does Justin Marks have the firepower to keep him? Now, in fairness, and I'll always be straight with you, Justin Marks is not some bloke who fell off a turnip truck. He's the one who discovered SVG. He flew to New Zealand. He believed in the project when every American team principal laughed at the idea of a V8 supercars driver in a cup car, and SVG has said publicly multiple times that he's loyal to Trackhouse. That's real, that matters, but loyalty doesn't win championships. Equipment does. And right now, the equipment gap between Toyota's TRD-JGR-23XY ecosystem and Trackhouse's secondary Chevy program is widening, not closing. Bob Pockris himself reported earlier this year that Trackhouse is actively trying to expand its engineering staff to close the gap with Hendrick. That's not a team in a position of strength. That's a team playing catch-up. Even the pit stops tell the story. 23XY's average 4-tire stop in 2026 is sitting around 9.4 seconds. Trackhouse closer to 10.1. That's 0.7 of a second every pit stop. Over 4 stops in a race, that's nearly 3 seconds, an entire restart cycle's worth of track position. So if you're SVG's manager sitting across from MichaelJordan in a hotel suite in Charlotte, and MJ slides a contract across the table with Toyota Power, a fourth charter, Jordan Brand Global Marketing, and the most competitive technical alliance in the sport, you don't say no. You say, when do we sign? So here's where I throw it to you. The real ones watching from Auckland, from Sydney, from Christchurch, from Perth, if MichaelJordan personally offers Shane Van Gisbergen a fourth 23X1 Toyota for the 2027 season, full Jordan Brand backing, TRD engineering, a permanent charter, does our Kiwi legend take the deal, or does loyalty to Justin Marks win out? Drop your verdict in the comments right now. 23XY if you think he jumped ship. Trackhouse if you think loyalty trumps equipment. And if you've got intel from the paddock, drop it. We read every single comment on this channel. Smash subscribe, hit the bell, and stay locked in, because when this deal breaks, NASCAR Nation Decoded will have it first. No mainstream filter, no American bias, just the truth for the fans who actually get it. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers, mates.